These are some Carbon Express Heritage 150s, and this is a 62-inch recurve bow from Junxing. Can't remember what model number. It'll be below, if I remember to put it below. Whatever. I'll put the link below. It's about I paid about $150 Canadian for it. This is for a clubmate of mine to try this year, and hopefully he'll be using it for pole archery. But I was fooling around with it, and I did some speed tests. There's a previous video. If I remember, I'll link it below. If I remember. That's the important part. But I was thinking these 4 arrows would be pretty damn good. So I was fooling around with the paper in the basement. This bow is it's too big for me to shoot down here safely. So I'll be shooting from a kneeling position. Kind of awkward. Kneeling positions are really easy to shoot when you're shooting with a short bow, which I do all the time. These ones are a little bit harder to do. But anyway, I'm going to shoot through the paper into the blank butt on the other side. And these should, all 4 of these should go through cleanly. Because I set the rest. It's got a hostage rest on it, which makes life a lot easier. And a lot more consistent. So this is kind of this is a hunting bow. I would hunt with it. Well, if I chose to hunt with it, I would hunt with it. All right. Nice and cleanly through. I'm going to try to move it around the paper so that you can see them. Isn't that a pretty sight? I love it when it flies pretty. They don't always fly pretty. I use mostly in the basement here. I'm almost always using junk arrows, so the arrows rarely match the bow, and the bow's really rarely set up. Well, that one was the worst of 3. Well, that one was the worst of 3 so far. And here comes number 4. That also could have been my release. It's still pretty clean. The other 2 are nice little dots. Alright, and here we go. Last one. Boom. That's pretty. I've never really paid much attention to having the right arrows for the bow. I just shoot. I don't care. I'm not a precision shooter. I do shoot target archery, and I get fussy, and that's actually what started me with paying attention, because I wanted to improve my shooting. Right? My best performance with my target rig was 521 out of 600 at 20 yards. I've not shot an outdoor target round, mostly because the limbs that I had set up for that actually broke. There might actually be a video about that somewhere in my list. If I remember, I'll link it below. So I didn't bother after that for a while. Now I have a set of light limbs that I use for indoors that they're not getting up 70 meters. But at 18 meters or 20 yards, which is what the indoor distance, they're perfectly fine. And so the best that I've done to date is, like I said, the 521 out of 600, which is not bad for me anyways. I know people who do a lot better than that. Anyways, so, but when you get arrows and your bow is set up, those are the results you get through paper. That's pretty cool. And until recently, until I hung up that piece of paper in my basement and I started fooling around trying to figure out these things, I never gave it a second thought. Now I think about it, because it sure makes a big difference in your accuracy. If your bow matches the arrows, that matches you. It's a 3-way. It's a trifecta, right? You can have a bow and you can have an arrow that matches that, and then you give it to somebody who's, I don't know, 6'7", and well, suddenly the arrows that you had set for this don't match no more, because they're too short for them. Like those were cut to 29. Those particular ones were cut to 29. Well, someone who's, you know, way up here, or actually further up there, of course they're going to have a longer draw. Even if they were here, they could have a longer draw. There's actually one gentleman I know who is maybe an inch taller than I am. Maybe. For some reason he's got these arms that, I don't know. See, yeah, he's got these long arms. So he's got a 29 and a half. So my draw length here is, here, hang on, bear with me. I'm going to put an extra finger just in case. So my draw, yeah, especially in here, my draw here is 26 and a half, using this style of bow, shooting with my fingers, and coming to the bottom. He's 29 and a half, and he's only like an inch taller than me. So, archery and these bows, they're all, it's an individual sport. Because everything is individual. You can buy a bow like, oh, this is such a great bow, I love this bow is so wonderful. And you give it to somebody else, and it's like, oh yeah, that doesn't really work for me. Because he's a different person. Right? It might not work for that person. But this particular bow, combined with those arrows and this person, gets those results. Because... And that makes me smile. Keep having fun, guys.